Hello, everyone, and welcome back to episode 4 of the Phonetic Flex, the show where we help you build stronger, clearer, and more confident English pronunciation. I'm your host, Britany.
And I'm Carlos. We're so glad you're joining us. Today, we are going to confront what might be the single most confusing, most illogical, and most baffling word in the entire English language based on its spelling.
That is not an exaggeration. We are talking about a high-ranking military officer, a word that when you see it written looks like it should be pronounced Co-lo-nel.
Right. If English followed any logical rules, that's exactly how we'd say it. But of course, we don't. The word is spelled C-O-L-O-N-E-L, but the actual pronunciation is kernel.
Kernel, like a kernel of corn. It's wild. It feels like a prank. But today, we're not just going to teach you how to say it, we're going to explain the fascinating history of why this word is so strange.
Exactly. Let's start by breaking down the sound. It's just two simple syllables. The first syllable gets all the stress. KER. This is the strong, long part of the word.
Right. The energy is all on that first beat. It's not KER-nul, it's KER-nul. The second syllable, nul, is unstressed, meaning it's quicker and softer.
Now, let's go back to that spelling. C-O-L-O-N-E-L. The first sound we hear is KER. Where in the world does that R sound come from? There is no letter R in this word. It's a phantom R. It appears out of nowhere.
It's a complete mystery based on the letters. And what about the letters we do see? The first O is a ghost letter. It's completely silent. The L is also a ghost letter, totally silent. So we have two silent letters and one phantom letter in the first three letters alone.
It's a phonetic crime scene. The rest of the word, O-N-E-L, somehow transforms into the sound and the null sound. It's a total rebellion against its own spelling.
It is. So our final sound is KER-nul. Now, the big question is why? This isn't just a random mistake. There is a fascinating story behind this word that explains everything.
There is. And it's a story of a word that took two different paths to get into English. It all started in Italy with the Italian word colonnello.
Colonnello meant commander of a column of soldiers. A colonna is a column in Italian, so that makes perfect sense. And the English language borrowed this word, and we kept a spelling that was very similar to it with the L's and the O's. That's where our spelling C-O-L-O-N-E-L comes from.
Okay, so that's path number one, the spelling path, which came to us directly from Italian. But at the same time, the word took a different path through France. The French also borrowed the Italian word colonnello.
Right, but they changed it to make it easier for them to say through a process called dissimilation. That's a linguistic term for when two identical or very similar sounds in a word change to become less similar over time. It makes the word flow better off the tongue.
Exactly. Think about trying to say two L sounds close together. The French saw the two L's in colonnello and found it a bit clunky, so they changed the first L to an R. That change from L to R is a very common type of dissimilation, so colonnello became coronel in French.
Coronel, and that's path number 2. The English heard the French saying coronel with that R sound, and we adopted that pronunciation. So for some reason, we took the spelling from the Italians and the pronunciation from the French.
It's a linguistic mashup. The spelling and pronunciation of colonel are like two distant cousins who have never met. They come from the same family, but they traveled through different countries to get here. And that's where we get the silent L and the phantom R.
It's an amazing story, and it shows how complex the history of English really is. Okay, now that we know the why, let's build the muscle memory for the how. It's time for practice reps.
Let's do it. We'll say the word and you repeat right after us. Kernel.
Kernel.
Again, breaking it down. KER-nul.
KER-nul.
Now let's use it in some sentences. Repeat after us. The colonel was a respected leader.
The colonel was a respected leader.
She received her promotion to colonel last year.
She received her promotion to colonel last year.
Great job! Now, this whole topic of borrowed words and strange pronunciations leads us perfectly into our listener mailbag.
It does indeed. What's the question this week, Carlos?
This week's question comes from Pierre in France. Pierre writes, "Hello, Carlos and Britany. I am French, and I laugh when I see English speakers try to pronounce some French words, but it also confuses me. Why do some words like kernel change so much, but other French words in English keep a strange pronunciation? For example, the word rendezvous."
Pierre, that is a fantastic question that gets into the art of language borrowing. It's not always a clean process. Sometimes a word becomes so common that it's fully anglicized. Its pronunciation totally changes to fit English patterns. But other times, especially with words related to culture, art, food, or philosophy, English likes to keep some of the original French flavor.
Exactly. It's seen as sophisticated. Let's look at Pierre's example. Rendezvous, spelled R-E-N-D-E-Z-Y-O-U-S. If we applied English rules, it would be a mess, but we try to approximate the French, so we say rendez-vous.
Right. The ren sounds like ron, the des sounds like day, and the vous sounds like vous. The z and the final s are silent, just like in French. Let's practice that one. Repeat after us. They planned a secret rendezvous.
They planned a secret rendezvous.
Here's another great example from the world of art. Ballet. B-A-L-L-E-T.
In English, we normally pronounce a T at the end of a word, but for ballet, we keep the French rule and the T is silent. We say ballet. The stress is on the second syllable, also like in French.
Let's practice. My daughter has ballet practice on Tuesdays.
My daughter has ballet practice on Tuesdays.
Okay, another for Pierre. This one has a sound that doesn't really exist in many English words. Genre. G-E-N-R-E.
That first sound is a zh sound. Jean is the sound you hear in the middle of words like vision or measure. We borrowed that sound directly for this word. The full word is genre.
Let's try a sentence. Action is my favorite genre of movie.
Action is my favorite genre of movie.
Let's add a couple more from the world of food and architecture. How about croissant? C-R-O-I-S-A-N-T.
Oh, a delicious example. The T at the end is silent. The trickiest part is the ant ending, which in French is a nasal vowel. English speakers don't really have that sound, so we approximate it with on. The whole word sounds like croissant.
Let's practice. I'd like a coffee and a croissant, please.
I'd like a coffee and a croissant, please.
And one last one. Facade. F-A-C-A-D-E, with a little tail on the C.
That little tail is called a cedilla, and it tells you the C makes an S sound. The stress is on the second syllable. We say facade.
Let's try it. The building has a beautiful stone facade.
The building has a beautiful stone facade.
So, Pierre, the simple answer is it's complicated. Some words blend in, and others we like to keep as they are to sound a little more, well, sophisticated. Thank you for an excellent question.
Yes, thank you, Pierre. Okay, let's bring it all back home to our word of the day, kernel, for one final recap.
Let's do it. First and most important, the pronunciation is kernel. 2 syllables with the stress on the first.
Second, remember the ghosts and phantoms. The O and the L in the spelling are silent ghosts. The R sound that you hear is a phantom that comes from the word's French history.
And finally, remember the story. We took the spelling from Italian's colonnello and the pronunciation from French's coronel, creating this perfectly confusing English word.
That's everything you need to know to master this word. And that's a wrap on this episode of the Phonetic Flex. Keep practicing and don't be afraid of the strange history of English words.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time for another session. Bye for now.